When it rains, our public water tastes like the river. Our local government is wasting all the money they've been given to spend on the sewers. Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies. Welcome to a glass of a small amount of wine, a somewhat larger amount of microwaved tap water, and Aussie Mantis. It's late. I've been having a great time subverting my humanity for playing Divinity Original Sin 2 as much as humanly possible. I sacrificed the cleanliness of my kitchen, no, not to the tune of unwashed dishes, but to the tune of two very happy toddler girls socializing and performing science and cooking projects amidst the flour and the pancake mix. That was fun to discover. I heard that they had gotten into the kitchen. That's not all that new of a thing. It's fairly well baby-proofed. Until the point where the toddler pushes a few things up against one of the cabinets and gets into the old familiar stash of fun powder, pancake mix, and this time as well some whole wheat flour. Our rations have been somewhat diminished. You've lost one day's bread. And the enemy pilot was the first to die in this Aussie Mantis's flyout in the Reggiani 2005 ? Adam the Engineered has a very compelling video on the Re 2005 that shows you how to perform some black magic with manual engine controls. Specifically, I think it's prop feathering and a couple of other things that allow you to get much more horsepower out of the engine than what the auto engine controls would normally allow. The downside is, if you do it wrong, you will destroy your engine for the rest of the match. And it's a trick that you pull off while climbing. It's completely legit, does seem somewhat realistic, and it is one of those things that an experienced pilot could very much benefit from. And when I say it increases your engine power, I mean it doubles your climb rate, okay? So try it out. I have a link to his video in the description of this video. Highly recommend. And Aussie Mantis, that seems like the kind of thing you might be interested in. Aussie has a ballistics chart for weapons in War Thunder. I guess not just ballistics, a stat chart for weapons in War Thunder. He seems like a stats guy. Reggiani 2005, a good stats plane, and Aussie performing well in this match. It's not incredibly complicated to make such a powerful airframe as the Re 2005 do well, but it is always a satisfying experience to observe. And this dedicated fighter certainly does not stand alone in its bracket. It has some very tough competition, and you can see Aussie Mantis, low on altitude and energy, would be an easy target for a foe if he hadn't just shot down everyone around him. I do hear an engine. I'm thinking that's an ally. Yes, it is. They're ground striking now, taking advantage of the opportunity. So what else is going on? I'm still very excited about Brooklyn's 3rd birthday. This is an interesting time to be focusing on the family, but I am just really proud of my girls. I love watching the way they develop as Aussie goes into the head-on with a Spitfire, who somehow manages to miss all of, well, the vast majority of his shots. The Reggiani managing not to fireball, which is something of an exception as well, and pulling out on top in that sustained head-on. Not a terrible idea, as there are more enemies in the sky. F4U, with much more energy, makes the mistake of flying into the oncoming fire. That Corsair pilot definitely screwed up. He had plenty of opportunity to play the energy game against Aussie, but Aussie, with a bold and dedicated head-on attack, which was definitely a good call for him under the circumstances, comes out on top, getting lucky, I suppose, where advanced skills are somewhat lacking. But that's sort of the way things tend to go in War Thunder now, isn't it? Myself, I'm not really familiar with the Reggianis. I've played a couple of the models a couple of times, just long enough to go, wow, even stock, these things are fantastic. But if I really want to have fun in the pasta land, I tend to break out my G55S, which is still an absolute beauty, both in terms of the custom camouflage that I've made for it out of love for the aircraft, and in terms of the results both in game progress, silver lines and RP, and in satisfying kills that the plane produces. Enemy P-38, low on altitude but still moving at a pretty brisk rate, making the mistake of turning with a couple of enemies. This is a situation he is guaranteed to regret, as the P-38 couldn't outturn one of these fighters, let alone both of them. And although I have myself experienced the fantastic survivability of the P-38 under certain circumstances, ain't nothing in the game can survive that amount of sustained firepower. The P-38 certainly not being an exception. A quick ace, and moving on to the next Aussie Mantis clip, and this time we're sending angrily worded emails, sorry, personal letters, out of the typewriters affixed to the wings of this weird ass British, whatever the hell this is, dive bomber. No doubt some American design that they decided to pull the useful 50 cals out of the wings and replace with god-awful rifle caliber machine guns, at least in terms of the game of War Thunder, and judging from the armament of every successful airframe in mid to late World War II, and for the rest of all time, rifle caliber machine guns probably not having enough effect in real life either. But don't tell that to Mantis. He is on a head-on mission. He is aggressively targeting enemies. He is typing out those strongly worded letters to his local barrister in in staccato fashion, and he will have his satisfaction, sir. In any event, this Aussie is now going down under the enemy team and looking for his opportunities. I've noticed Mantis has a fairly aggressive playstyle, perhaps in keeping with the name, coming so close to that enemy Reggiani that he almost touched tips, wingtips, just for a bit, just to see who has the better construction. And yet, we're back to tail gunner time as Aussie Mantis goes for the most suitable form of defensive flying, old chap. See, you fly in a straight line, and you curve slightly to the left, just like your father, and you dakka, and they shall relent. No doubt. Yes. A couple of quick kills and 2 enemy fighters dropping off of his tail out of the fight. The He-112 himself being targeted as the furball commences around Aussie Mantis, not prioritizing our Rue-inspired ground attacker in this dive bomber, and yet he finds opportunity to make the most out of his aircraft. The engine smoking, leaking oil, the perpetual sound of a dead engine, because this is update 1.97, where every aircraft and helicopter engine sounds dead in the replay system. Thank you, Gaijin. I know you have more important things to work on, but could somebody please bug report that for me? I literally don't know how anymore. I've submitted 2 bug reports in the past, and I couldn't even find the place to submit bug reports on the War Thunder official forums last time I tried. It's been a while as well. On top of that, I got other stuff to do. I am eyeballs deep in Divinity Original Sin 2. I am raising 2 small human beings to be successful adults or die trying. I'm the one who will die. They'll be fine. They're tough. They're very strong. When it came to the mess they made today in the kitchen and on themselves, it would definitely be a valid time for some physical discipline, a little bit of spanking for the older one. But first off, they were just so dang happy. They were playing so well together. They're so proud of what they were doing. And I walk in there and Brooklyn's like, "Daddy, I was making pancakes for you." It's like, no, you weren't. You were playing in the mess. But I appreciate your attempt to manipulate me. As Aussie survives a bombing and takes off again now. 3 kills, 2 assists, and he's back in the air, being a thorn in the side of the enemy team as, let's not forget, a dive bomber. So I just couldn't spank him. Alright, well, I mean, I can't spank the little one. She's too little. It wouldn't be effective. And I'm never going to waste a teaching moment. I'm never going to waste discipline. You know, I'm not just going to spank the girls because it's like a, you know, I'm not... Look, I'm going to raise them the way I want to, okay? I'm going to use the discipline that works. And I just knew that Brooklyn would just decide that the pleasure was worth the pain. And God help me if she decides that spankings are a little bit fun too. Maybe her dad has something of a problem like that. Anyway, what I did is I told her how disappointed I was, and then I took those 2 little convicts and I allowed them to experience their punishment together, and that was to get showered off. So just the process of showering off the caked on flour and pancake mix from my 2 toddlers was enough to slightly mollify them and maybe plant the seed in their mind that there are consequences, even, let's say, uncomfortable, no, dire consequences to making a massive mess out of the baking flour. If not, well, I'm sure I'll get another chance to address the issue. Aussie Mantis now again and again going after ground targets, just racking up a massive reward in this battle and showing when a ground attacker can finally do its intended purpose in the game, just how fun that can be. Obviously, I've sped that up. I've got a lot more to show you guys today, and Aussie is gonna pick up his 5th air kill. in a dive bomber against people who really should have made better decisions. Either in how they were facing him, we're talking avoiding those head-ons that Ozzy loves to commit to, or maybe just going after somebody else and letting Ozymandias do his thing. Let the troops on the ground deal with him. In any event, I'm sitting on my feet, and the pain, you would think that I learned, but I can stretch my feet out in front of me, or I can sit crisscross applesauce, or I can sit on my feet, suateimasu style, but all three of those options have downsides. Suateimasu is definitely easier on my spine. I can see why it would appeal to small Asian people that sit on the floor, as I, not being small or Asian, but rather a chunky, very European ethnicity boy, mostly German, in case you were wondering. Not that that means anything to me. My culture is entirely American. I have no idea what it means to be a German, other than apparently adhering to way too many stupid civil rules. But yeah, we're getting there. I live in Oregon. Anyway, what was I talking about? Right, I'm pretty hefty, and I sit on the floor. I don't like sitting on furniture for extended periods of time, just because most furniture is not really good for my back, and so I do what I can. My legs suffer, they fall asleep, they slowly die, sort of the way this BR20M... Man, I'm out of touch. What the hell is in the skies these days? Well, you know what? He's not in the skies for much longer. He, getting... I almost said... Well, never mind what I almost said. Getting pecked to death by Ozymandias's multiple rifle caliber rounds at outside of half a kilometer away, and yet, oh God, oh God, have mercy, he's still flying, he's still trying, which means the pain is about to commence. That's right, it's rear gunner time. If you thought the dakas and the wings were torturous, those poor bastards, just give up, just wave a white flag, just jump out, just make the pain stop. It's like North Korean water torture. Anyway, why do they call it Chinese water torture? It was the North Koreans that used it. Oh, maybe the Chinese started it. I don't know. Maybe they taught it to the North Koreans. It seems like the kind of thing is that people would discuss with their little, with Mao's little red book in their hands. But anyway, apparently, water torture is a very real and legitimate form of torture. I'd rather not find out. I'd probably go for that over 7.7 rifle caliber ammunition being fired at me repeatedly, but then again, I'm not a Papa Stalin Mark 2012 HDX. Let's admit it, I'm looking at this editing software and I'm sleepy already. BR20M M1. Okay, man, like, it is what it is. Not only is Gaijin changing the name of vehicles constantly, but man, that name just means nothing to me. So if we call that thing the flying spatula or the fat chickadee, then maybe it means something. But you know, I think we're gonna call that one the French whatever? I'm not sure. Anyway, it seems like I've sort of run out of stuff to talk about, other than, no doubt, Ozzy Mantis's fantastic rewards for this match. So, I don't know, man, like, I got some popcorn on my— oh my goodness, the thing finally died. God bless us, everyone. 6 kills in a dive bomber, along with an amount of ground targets that you wouldn't be ashamed to share with your friends. What a match, and what a tortuous way to end it. Now, I haven't seen a lot of ground vehicle videos from the Mantis, but filling out our triple dipple replay pickle for this Ozzy Mantis special today. Not the most insane match in a Panzer IV F2, but a good vehicle to talk about any day, and for somebody that presumably doesn't play a ton of ground vehicles, definitely one that is well worth putting time into. You can see the match has already progressed a ways. Ozzy took his time getting to the C point, which is not a terrible idea, as there are many opportunities to get ambushed there, and then he makes his way, after picking up a kill, through town a bit, and I'll pick things up where the action starts again. And how? Both on the move, and this time, for once, the Sherman not victorious. That would be a great opportunity to listen for enemy engine sounds. It may have been that Sherman was close enough to hear his engine before the enemy tank popped around the corner, and that could have given Ozzy Mantis a half a second or a second to let his tank slow to a halt for increased gun stability. But you know what? If you don't need it, you don't need it. And one of the things, honestly, that I've seen Ozzy relying on a bit here is luck. Luck in the head-on passes with enemy aircraft, and luck in being in the right position when 2 tanks are moving and one of them has the shot. I'm not sure if Ozzy is listening to music or something while he's playing, but if any of you do that, one of the things that I like to do now is, when I am listening to videos in the background, I commonly do listen to YouTube in the background, usually War Thunder YouTubers, commonly the European Canadian. I found him just incredibly relaxing lately, and honestly, I sort of think of him as a friend, even though we don't really like talk or hang out or anything. I guess I just like the guy. I'm fond of him, okay? I think he's a neat guy, and I just like his style. And you know what? If you don't like his style, shove it up your ass. I don't care. I don't need to know. I sort of like, if you like something, or if you like somebody, you know, you just like their style. I'm not talking like here, okay? But if you want to share something you enjoy, then for somebody that doesn't agree, you really don't have to just mention that you don't like that thing. In fact, this is sort of something that I've been trying to work on with myself, as Ozzy faces off against his fiercest foe, an M22 Locust that somehow just ignores that shot. Did that go over his head? Is that a server deal? Yeah, that Locust is teleporting around a little bit, so somebody has a bad connection, and my money is on Ozzy Mantis. He's an Aussie, after all. But I'll wrap this video up with one of the things that I've really been trying to work on myself, because this is human nature. When somebody says they like something, and I don't like that thing, my first response is, the first gut reaction is to go, oh, I don't like that. Let me tell you why, right? But what I've been trying to retrain myself with is, if I don't like that thing, What I'll ask is, what do you like about that? Because that's really an opportunity for me to learn something. You know, I already know why I don't like this or that. What I might not be so familiar with is what somebody else gets out of it. And sometimes that can even give you a view on something that can open up that thing to your enjoyment as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, link to the Discord in the description, and I hope that you will take up that offer to join in on the social network that doesn't filter out the vast majority of your inputs and listen to every interaction you have in your life to post sidebar ads that are suspiciously specific. That's right, Facebook heard me coughing again, and I keep getting ads to quit smoking. Bye-bye.